It is not an exaggeration whatsoever to say that Strip Weathers The King is one of the most popular Disney Pixar Cars characters of all time. I would even argue that he is top 5, maybe even higher than that in terms of overall popularity ever since the first Cars movie came out in 2006. And you know who else knows that? Mattel and other die-cast manufacturers, because they have produced the heck out of them over the last 18 years, from the damaged version, making the regular version almost every year, mini racers, the little Piston Cup accessory as well, and then of course on top of that, all the customs that people have made, making the iconic The King look, taking their own perspective on it and turning it into something new. What really is incredible to me about this whole thing is that back in 2006, when The King first came out, yeah, he looks pretty much the same as he does now in 2024. And like I said, yeah, he's been released almost every single year since 2006, only taking a little bit of a hiatus for Cars 2 from 2011 to 2012. He is one of my favorite overall characters, not just because he's very likable in the movies, but also because it's a sick looking car. Now, a lot of people like him for a little different reason. Maybe he's voiced by Richard Petty, one of the most winningest NASCAR drivers in real life of all time. He won 7 of the Cup Series, retired in 1992, and yeah, it's pretty awesome that they got him to voice the King in Cars, come back for Cars 3 and all that as well. But yeah, there is so much history that goes into this. Another whole piece to it is that the King is based on, and pretty much is, a 1970 Plymouth Superbird. So you get a real car, you get connection to real NASCAR, and just a beautiful piece all around. So today, guys, we're going to embark upon the impossible task, nearly, of going through every single The King variation known to man. Now, maybe at the end, you guys will be like, hey, Mr. Docket, you forgot this, this, and that. I recommend it. Go ahead in the comments. Tell me what I'm missing out on. I'm sure I'm missing something, but this is pretty much everything. This is all you got to worry about in terms of the King variations. This is not necessarily a review of them all, as I've reviewed mostly all of these on my channel at some point, but we're going to at least touch on every single one here and talk a little bit about them. I'm very excited for this video. I think last year at some point I did a video on all of the variations of Chick Hicks, and yeah, that video was pretty long. Well, this one's probably going to be longer because there are way more versions of the King than there are of Chick Hicks, despite being kind of on the same level. But the Chick Hicks, yeah, he just doesn't have all of the clout, the real life connections, the cool car that the King has here. So we're going to start with the very original version of him here. Let's see when this one was made. This is not the one from 2006, but it's 2009. Actually, yeah, I would assume that's 2009. Yeah, that would be 2009 there. It would not be 2019 because then he would have been made from Thailand. So the 260th day of 2009, geez, at the EAB factory, you could see they have the copyright for the 1970 Plymouth Superboard up in the top quadrant there, and Disney Pixar China there in the bottom. I also brought out another version of him that I think is a little bit older. Yep. So this one was made on the 141st day of 2008 at the EA factory. So cool stuff there. I did want to kind of see how he changed over time. Starting with this one. Yeah, this is, wow, this guy's 16 years old. That is absolutely wild. But you have the beautiful Tomica logo there. Everyone, let's just familiarize ourselves or re-familiarize ourselves with what the King looks like. Beautiful silver wheels there. You have a couple contingency sponsors, not as many as McQueen, all the other racers, and obviously Chick Hicks, who has himself coded in them. 43 is a number that Richard Petty used. By doing this, we will be able to see how all the other versions differentiate from the original. This one is a little beat up. You can see it's got a chip back there, but that just provides some cool character to it. You can see at this point they made the back silver bumper here a separate piece from the base and the metal body. And of course, the wing has always been a separate plastic piece. Cool stuff. So not much changed when they did him a year or two later. This one is just way more polished, glossier. Didn't catch as much of my wrath as a kid. And by wrath, I mean like playing with it and just being a kid about it, you know? This video is not made for kids, though. I will say that. This is a collector-focused channel. Adults. Beautiful. All right, so let's get into the exciting stuff now, which are all these other variants here. And we absolutely have to start with the original damaged version of the King that came out in 2009 and ended up being one of the rarest releases from that year. He did end up getting re-released in 2010, but as a lenticular moving eyes variant, and we will get to that momentarily here. And then he was released with a smiling expression in 2022, which we will also get to. This guy was made on the 9th day of 2009. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I've always liked this one because he's got a matte finish, very accurate to the movie, super smooth finish. You can see the grass stains on him. He's all dented up, the wings all mashed and snarled. But yeah, understandably so, damage racers have always been very popular with the fandom. Race damage mood springs in 2010 being the pinnacle of that, but also any customs that people were to make are very popular as well. So yeah, this guy's really cool. You can even see that they kind of changed the axle direction to make him look bent and squashed under the body there, which is just super cool. Really amazing. So yeah, that's the original version. They came out with this lenticular version in a 3-pack the year later with, man, I think it was McQueen and maybe Dexter Hoover, I think. Not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. But this one is quite a bit different in the sense that the wing is way dirtier. Yeah, it's literally like, yeah, it's way browner. I could make some bad jokes right now, but I'm going to refrain. Yeah, it just looks a little grodier. Like, I don't know what happened there, but yeah. And obviously the eyes are different here. Never liked this lenticular. I mean, I don't like lenticulars in general, but this one's particularly bad because I can never really get one expression to like just sit there. Like that looks all right, I guess. That looks okay. Ooh. Excuse me, guys. You guys know I just ripped the sneezes on the channel. I remember, I think someone commented recently, like, they with a timestamp and said Mr. Docket Sneeze or something like that. I was like, cool. Thanks for time stamping that so everyone can catch a glimpse of the sneezage. But yeah, this guy's pretty cool. A lot of people struggled to get this one as well. The 3-pack was quite rare. So Damage the King kind of lived in purgatory for a while, although he never became as expensive, not nearly as expensive as Race Damage Mood Springs. But yeah, in 2022, the gates were flooded open. This guy wasn't the hardest thing in the world to find. I believe I found a couple over the course of 2022. Actually, I'm going to be legit. I don't think I found one until 2023, and then I found multiple. Like in the beginning part of 2023, this case started to hit targets again, and I actually found a few. But this one I really do like because of the smiling expression, gives the King a little bit more life, and also kind of maintains and keeps the value of the original version, because now you can't get the exact same thing. It's pretty gosh darn close, but slightly different. He's smiling now, obviously made in Thailand versus China, and he's a little more dirtied up again. They never seem to have agreed with what, or to the extent of the dirt and mud that he got on him when he took his spill. He also has gray wheels now instead of the silver, which is something that Thailand changed. And yes, that's pretty much it. I did review this guy when he came out in the summer of 2022, so of course check that video out as well. I'm sure I'll have a bunch of links in the description and the card suggestions of reviews of a lot of these versions of the King. So kind of continuing chronologically here, the next big release of the King was the 2010, oh my god, what did I just say? The 2010, I literally just said 2007. Oh my gosh, that's when you know I need to get to bed. But 2010 Chase Lenticular Metallic The King right here. And this is what I mean when Thailand is probably doing a much better job in terms of paint health and longevity, because the paint on this one is poo. I mean, it's garbage, right? You can see the cracks there in the 43 and just the paint in general. It still looks fine. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not like some of those Motor Speedway, the South Zinc Pest cars where the paint is literally just crumbling and the metal, in fact, is also just kind of tearing apart. You could peel it off like an orange slice. Yeah, no, this is not that bad, but it still doesn't look great by any stretch of the imagination. It's like all these hairline fractures in the bone, which is just the metal. Kind of upsetting, but is what it is. Yeah, I just started to notice this over the last couple of years as well. Otherwise, I always thought he was fine. You could probably find him in one of my early videos in the late 2010s, and he doesn't look like this. But anywho, yeah, you can see it on the front here as well. Ooh, looks like he's got whiskers. So yeah, guys, I honestly believe that the Thailand metallic cars, for example, a very comparable type of release to this, like maybe take the silver Thailand King here, I don't think it'll get this bad. Like, I don't think the paint will have the potential to start cracking like the Chinese one here is. But there's a lot of lore that goes into this metallic version of the King, because the fixed eyes version of it was canceled in 2010. That being this guy right here. Now, we have a lot to go through for this, so strap in, guys. First off, this is one of the most common canceled releases, not canceled releases, but canceled diecast there is. I guess it is a canceled release, but it just kind of sounds like an oxymoron to me, because you're saying it's canceled and then a release in of itself is something that was pushed out to the public. Anyways, yes, it is one of the more common canceled cars out there. You could usually find one for around $100 if you look hard enough, whether that be eBay, whether that be through Facebook sellers. But I do have a few of them. This one here looks pretty good on the left. I do love how he would have looked with the fixed eyes. We just went over how horrible the lenticulars are, and this 2010 Chase is no exception. It's probably even worse than that damaged version. Like, you just can't get it to not look like an alien. Let's take a look at the date stamp here real quick. This is the 11th day of 2010. So early on in that year. Again, 1970 Plymouth Superbird. And yeah, this one, of course, does indeed have a date stamp, which is very strange. Very strange. But this guy was not released. The 318th day of 2009. Yeah, it's almost like they planned for it to be released, and then they were like, psych, nah. I don't know, and then they just slipped all the lenticulars in last minute. It really is an interesting story, but man, it is just a beautiful car. I don't know why they did some of these metallics lenticular, some not in 2010, like Daryl Cartrip and I believe Red Ramon. Yeah, those did not receive the lenticular treatment. I guess neither did DJ. So was the King literally the only car that received the lenticular treatment from the metallic chases that year, which is just stupid. That doesn't make any sense to me, but yeah, it did. This version I had over here is kind of like an air version with a different set of tires in the back, which is kind of cool. You can see this one also has a date stamp of 3019. So yeah, this is one of the few like canceled cars that will actually have a date stamp, just because of the nature and how they did things back in late 2009, early 2010. The other thing I want to mention about this is that the factory customizers in China have started to do their own versions of these as well. They're very easy to tell, so you should not be duped into thinking that, oh, I got a real canceled car and actually it's just a fake. No, you should be able to tell pretty easily, because the tone of the paint is completely different. It's like a matte finish metallic. The expression is wonkier. You know, if we compare these, the eyes are a little further apart. The gradient in the retina is slightly different. I mean, mainly it's just the color of paint. It's a way lighter shade of blue. You can also just kind of see how the decals are very poor and they left these big like open marks there. The windows are also completely transparent, whereas these are definitely a little bit more opaque and have that line going through it there. These do not, just one solid piece. And the date stamp will be something along those lines, even though the real one should look something like that. So yeah, super easy. I do believe there are some of these being sold on eBay currently, so just keep your eye out for them. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to always message me on Instagram or wherever you can message me, email me, because I don't want anyone thinking they're getting a canceled car and it's actually just a factory custom fake, which is still cool, I guess, but it's not the real thing. All right, what should we go to next? Man, we've gone through everything in the two. Actually, no, we have to get through some more lenticulars, which are not fun, but we're going to have to do it. You guys know me. I'm not going to leave any bases uncovered in this video because I did say it's all of the King variations. So, in 2009, the earlier lenticulars, the early moving eyes cars just blinked. As you can see here, not very good, but yeah, I mean, these are pretty poor as well. Looks pretty good there, but you could still see the eyes when he blinks, which is just the weird part. This came, I got this actually in a 4-pack with Ryan Shields, the Vuezine racer. A very odd character to have gotten a lenticular release, but yeah, Ryan Shields did get a lenticular release back in 2009. And then this is more of the standard actually moving eyes version of the King that came out later, where it moves back and forth there instead of just blinking. But yeah, somehow I ended up with both of these, even though I don't have all that many lenticulars loose. I think I have almost all of them in the package at this point, but I only probably have like 25%, if that, of them loose and out of the package. So yeah, the King did not get much love after 2010. Of course, he was not released in 2011 or 12 in any big way. Obviously, that was Cars 2's time to shine. So factory customs started to come out of absolutely nowhere, including this majestic gold metallic The King that we're going to have to zoom back in for. But put your sunglasses on because he is reflective. You can also see those rectangles around the 43 here. See that right there? See that right there? Those were on the factory custom metallic version. So again, more proof that this is a fake, because obviously Mattel never attempted the gold The King. Let me tell you guys a story. So you guys know how this guy's very rare, very expensive now. It's going to be very hard for you to find one for sale. Well, they used to go for $10 flat on eBay from China. Would be easy peasy to get these. There were auctions running constantly for these types of factory customs, along with the gold factory custom World Grand Prix McQueen, the gold Chick Hicks, gold Sally, the chrome McQueens, all that. And then one day they just kind of all disappeared. I kid you not. They literally seem to have gone overnight and now are just super rare. I'm very fortunate I got one, but I wish I got a lot more because, like I said, these things were cheap. The other ones were even less than the King. The King was always the one going from like $10 to $15 in the auctions. Everything else was cheaper than that, which again proves the point that the King is a rare and a much more popular character than, you know, Sally, Chick Hicks, and World Grand Prix Lightning McQueen, obviously. Plus, there was a higher quantity of those. So yeah, this is a beautiful car, even though it is technically a fake. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with a gold The King. This guy is gorgeous. Super reflective as well. So I'm sure someone will comment face reveal and leave the timestamp in the comments below. What really mind boggles me are the people that think I have not revealed my face yet. And then when like they see it in the video in like a gig haul or something, they freak out. They're like, oh my God, you finally revealed your face. I'm like, I've shown my face now over 100 times in videos since that day. Yep, there you go. There's a nice shot of me. Gotta trim up the beard here soon. But yeah, really cool stuff all around. So this is the oldest factory custom The King. The metallic version actually came out after the gold version. There is not a silver chrome version, unfortunately, but Mattel's got us covered on that front because in 2020, right as the lockdown started, they released this silver version of The King from Thailand, of course. And they released a whole bunch of other silvers that year. Jackson Storm, of course, Chick Hicks. They did a bunch of re-releases, Miguel Camino, Raul Cerul, Jeff Gorvette, and Cars 1 McQueen. And then they did Dinoco Cruz Ramirez to cap it off. I think I got them all there. Yay me. This is another one of my favorite versions of The King, just because I think they did a great job with it. Not only making the eyelids this gray tone here that complement the silver along with the wing there in gray. But they decided to make the wheels blue, which is a perfect contrast because if they just left them the silver or gray, it would be a little bit too much. So by making these blue, I think it was a really solid choice and made for a great release that year that I think is pretty underrated. Not many people talk about it, even though I think it's one of the better releases of 2020, a year that was relatively weak overall. Let's see when this guy was made. M51A, so the 51st week of 2019 at the A Factory. Look how much stuff is on the base there. Oh my goodness. Now they even have the Petty trademark up here because, of course, Richard Petty. Then there's this factory custom while we're still on the topic of silver and chrome stuff. This is a relatively newer one from, I'm not sure. I honestly don't know where this came from, but it does fall under the factory custom umbrella here. This might be an older one. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure. Obviously, lenticular moving eyes, but that's a common trait for a lot of these chromes that you may have seen across my channel over the last few years. I did a 12 Days of Christmas episode on some of them. I think the King might have even been included in that. But yeah, they've done these chromes over the course of the last decade plus. There's some, that were a lot more prevalent back in the days of Cars 2, and that's how you got your Lewis Hamiltons, Max Schnells, Nigel Gearsley, all those guys in chrome. And then there's some of the more retro characters like King, all the tuners, Sheriff, some Tokyo Mayor cars in chrome as well. I really should do a video on all that because it's a very underappreciated segment of not only the cars collecting fandom, but also just the factory custom hobby specifically. No one really gives it much attention, but obviously really cool to have the King in complete chrome like this. No decals except on the tires there. I like the blue wing a lot. Again, it's kind of like making the wheels blue on the silver King. It's necessary contrast. I don't love the lenticularness of this vehicle, but of course, it's just kind of like the vibe, honestly, for all these chromes. That's just kind of how they ran, and you just had to accept it. You can see these were epoxied back together. They were not riveted. All right, what do we do now? How about a Thailand variant of the King? Why not do that? I just opened this guy recently, yeah, R34A. So I think, yeah, this came out of the accessory pack that came out last year with McQueen in it. So maybe this was even the year before. This might be a 2022 R34. Yeah, this might be the 34th week of 2022. Pretty sure that is that. But yeah, obviously the King has been made in Thailand now for 5+ years. But this was my first version of him that I got opened. He's a much lighter shade of blue than the original Chinese version. His eyes are a little bit different, a little bit bigger. That's now a plastic eye plate instead of being a part of the main metal body. The bumper is now part of the base instead of being its own plastic piece. Of course, the wheels are gray like we kind of touched on instead of being silver. The decals are not going to be as crisp and as clear as what they were in 2008 or whenever this original version came out here. But that's okay. He's still the King and still flies off shelves. Although I have seen quite a few of them on 2024 card, which is this one back here, hanging around the pegs. I'm a little concerned. I think they might have put him in one too many cases this year, but I do think that he will still end up selling and not be one of the peg warming victims like Chisaki, K-Pillar Derev, May-Pillar Derev that, are just so common and cool characters that have turned into annoyances because you see them so much when you're looking for something else. The King will never be that. Another newish variant of the King is the Vietnam version that came out of a multi-pack. I believe this one did. The NASCAR 5-pack, and I think there might have been another multi-pack that I got him out of as well. So that's where the pit stop barrier came from as well, by the way, which is super cool. It's a little different from the original pit stop barrier that he was released with in late 2016, early 2017 in the Movie Moments series. A very short-lived kind of outside of the mainline line that had your typical Piston Cup characters, some odd racers, with accessories. And for all the racers, it were these pit stop barriers. But for the King, it's a little different than this one here. I just want to take note of that. I don't have it loose though, because I can't bring myself to open it. It is super duper rare. Now, for the Vietnam version here, the biggest difference is going to be that eyeliner that is so shadowy. It's like kind of a goth, like makeup. I don't even know. It literally looks like he's trying to make his eyes stand out with some mascara. Mascara is the word, yeah. So you can see along the eyelid right there. I mean, just look at that shadow there. It's like they went into Microsoft Word, went into text effects, and then turned on shadow and made the opacity like 100%, because that is just gross. I don't like that. Especially, you can see the line like coming over the eyes right there. It just doesn't look natural at all. I will say that the clarity on the decals is really good. It's just as good, if not better, than the original Chinese versions. I do love the silver wheels as well. They look strong, but yeah, those eyes are definitely a weakness. But yeah, you can see here, well, let's pull out the Thailand version. Gray wheels versus silver, blurry decals versus clear decals. But the expression's better on the Thailand version. Craziness. Vietnam, what were you doing? Vietnam did agree with Thailand on making the bumper a part of the plastic base, though. They certainly didn't agree with the expression. All right. How about the Star Wars The King? Probably around 2015 when this guy came out. The King is Lando Calrissian. Was only released in a multi-pack with one of, oh man, Ramon as Han Solo and Carbonite was in it. And then a pity that looks very similar to this paint shop. Not really sure what it was called, guys. I love Star Wars. And you're going to hate me for this if you're a classic Star Wars fan, but I'm much more of a new Star Wars fan. I have not seen any of the prequel films, 1, 2, and 3, and I've only seen 4 and half of 5. I have not seen the other half of 5 or 6. Now, I've seen 7, 8, and 9, and every single other movie they've done since that. And I've also seen every Disney Plus show except for, what's her name? Oh my God, how am I blanking on the name? Ahsoka. I watched a couple episodes. I was like, nah. Anyways, I do know Lando. He was in the Han Solo movie, but a lot younger than he was in the original films. But yeah, this is a very cool version of the King. It's the exact same scale as the Mattel ones, but it is not Mattel. It's the Disney Parks brand. As you can see here, Disney, Pixar, LFL, China, but you do have the Plymouth Superbird trademark. Now, these are put together with screws, which is super interesting for a car like this. Most times, it's going to be rivets. But yeah, just a beautiful car all around. I love the expression that they give the King here as well, because it's a little different from what we're used to. But yeah, the mouth is almost identical to what Mattel would do, which is just so strange. It's almost like they collaborated on these. And then Disney Parks was like, yeah, we're not going to credit you. Like, thanks, but get out of here. He's got his little weapon up there, which is a kind of soft rubber. Got the orange wheels there. I wish the wing back here was metallic blue like the body is, but yeah, it's a light blue with the orange stripe. I like the two-tone black roof there, almost like Final Toupee. And then he's got the decal there on his hood. And on the back, it's like he's wearing some sort of suit. I need to look to see exactly what version of Lando, like what Lando looks like in the movies, so that I can get a better reference point on what the King here is emulating. But I've always loved the Star Wars series, and I wish they would do some new ones, like Flo as Ahsoka. Wouldn't that be sweet? Or Cruz Ramirez as Ahsoka. Or Jackson Storm as Kylo Ren. Like, I just think those would be awesome. Who would be Rey? Maybe Cruz would be a better Rey. I remember I pranked my friends one time where I was like, canceled wave 3 of Star Wars, Padme, Flo. And they were like, no way. That joke did not last that long, though, because they eventually tore it all down. All right, we're getting to the end of it all here. We're getting on to like customs and some weird stuff here. But first is going to be this color changing version of the King that came out in 2020, late 2020, I believe actually might have bled in the 2021. I also really like the expression on this guy because it's different from what we're used to with the King. It's kind of more of a happy, a little shocked, surprised expression. He goes from a lighter blue to this dark purple, which he's been in for a while now. This guy has not stayed in great condition. He's taken a little bit of damage around the edges there, as you can see. Oh yeah, and this was made in Vietnam as well. All right, customs. Why not? Oh my God, why am I sneezy? Maybe it's all these variants just getting to me. I'm just getting so excited. Maybe they're a little dusty. But yeah, this one I just reviewed, the blue flaming Hot Rod the King from Shane Cooper. So I'll probably leave that link in the description since it's such a recent video. You guys got to check it out. This is gorgeous. Same kind of color as King as Lando. So yeah, really like that. I reviewed this convention exclusive custom version of the King, and not this past year, but the year before, 12 Days of Christmas series. This is such a sick version. I really wish it didn't have all these advertisement decals on it. Like if it didn't have Alex's toy chest and the website there, and if it didn't have the 2009 Hotlanta collector experience, June, whatever, 11th to 14th. If it didn't have all of that and it just had these cool flames on the side and the roof, it would be so sick. Because whoever painted this is a really talented customizer. I want to know where all these people went who did all these convention customs, because there's a billion convention customs out there that, again, it's a very underappreciated segment of the cars hobby. Some people are interested in them. Most people, myself, not super big fans, because at the end of the day, they're just handmade customs with a bunch of advertisements on them. There's no real rarity to them, I guess, unless, you know, you're super diehard, hell-bent to get them. But still, though, there's some really cool designs that have come out of them, and this is one of them. I mean, just look at that red 43, the blue flames behind it. You have the blue 43 down here. Just beautiful. And he was able to match the wing color to the body perfectly. Just a great silver color that honestly might be a little bit better. It's more Zamac-y than the Mattel Silver the King, I will say that. Yeah, diecastspace.com, gross. Don't like that at all. Really like this guy. He has grown on me over time. I remember when I was buying these, this was the one that I almost didn't get, but I'm glad I got it now. I was going to get the other ones for sure that I reviewed in the 12 Days of Christmas. This one was the most expensive one, so I was like, nah. But then I was like, all right, fine, I'll just get the whole set. All right, more customs from Shane Cooper here. This is Angelic the King from the Cars video game, the original 2006 Cars video game. There are a couple tones for this version of the King. I think there might be like a white one as well, but obviously this is the blue and yellow with the angel decals on the hood and trunk there. As you guys know, I've been trying to bring to life as many video game paint jobs as possible, and even some of the characters like Emma and Piotr Raisinov as well. And during that crusade, this guy has been along the way, although he was actually one of the first ones I did, along with that blue flaming Ramon. They both were reviewed in the same video back in December of 2021, I think it was. I also reviewed this guy, I think in 2022, HTB, Chick Hicks the King, basically, without all the contingency sponsors. Love the expression that Jim Scavenger gave this guy. Again, it's a little different from what we're used to, which with the King, when there's so many of these, you do need to change up the expression, and that's kind of, it's been a little bit of an issue for the King, because he just always has the exact same look. But hey, maybe that's a good thing, just keeps it consistent. But yeah, I love seeing the King in this metallic green here. Just a beautiful version of him, and almost completes my set of exchanging sponsors of the three main racers. I have an HTB McQueen. Obviously, I have a Dynaco McQueen that was released and obviously appeared in the movie. Same thing, Dynaco Chick Hicks. So what we need is a Rust-eze the King, a Rust-eze Chick Hicks, I think that would do it. I think that would do it. Oh no, yeah, because I have an HTB McQueen already. So just need Rust-eze the King and a Rust-eze Chick Hicks, and then we'll be all set. So yeah, there was that custom. Here is a Tomica, really cool Tomica version of the King. They took their Thomasville Expand Universe series a step further by doing the King and Cruz Ramirez, two characters that Mattel should have absolutely done. I don't know why they were like, nah, we're going to do Parker Breakston, Reb Meeker, and a bunch of no-name racers. Instead, still just mind boggles me to this day because this design is absolutely gorgeous with the Thorson trucking there. Like basically they were like, we're going to pick Parker Breakston to have this paint job over the King because Parker Breakston ended up getting released with this exact same paint job. See? Jen's Diner, Thorson trucking. I'm not lying, guys. This is actually a prototype that I got in, but it serves my point. Because this would have been so cool from Mattel. And I bet some people have made 155 scale customs of it, but I don't even want to give Mattel that attention. The Tomica version is just fine for me. Love the retro Dinoco logo here in the back as well. You have Southern Gold Gasoline there. And I did do a review on this guy way back in the day. Never understood why Tomica puts these big flaps on the base for the King, though. I don't get that at all. It's very strange. All right, my only attempt at, well, let's say my only successful attempt at a custom is this right here, Cars 3 The King with headsets. I actually did like a tutorial on how to do this. It became a super popular video, and I think that was 2018 or 19 when I did this video. Crazy that sticking a headset on The King became such a popular video, but yeah, it did. I'm very grateful for it. But it's really nothing that special. Let's see when this one was made. So yeah, 207th day of 2010. Yeah, I just took one of those Kings, Gorilla Glued a headset on it, which probably came from, honestly, I have no idea where it came from. Had to be a long one because, yeah, this one is quite lengthy. I hope I got it on the right side. I'm pretty sure I did. But yeah, it's a good custom that Mattel has not attempted to do. And they don't really seem to be interested in doing like the headset versions of the Cars 3 characters like Smokey, who they canceled, McQueen, Fabulous, and Regular. Even though they tried to do the Fabulous one, they canceled that one. Not even attempting the regular one, 155 scale. They did do the regular Cars 3 McQueen with headset as a mini racer though, which brings me to our next point, Mini Racer the Kings here. You have your regular, you have your silver, you have your metallic, and you have your damaged version, which they kind of released as a premonition to the 155 scale version. So yeah, really cool that they carried the King on into this line as well. They did not make the wing on this guy metallic though, and they did make this one a silver that really matches the body, so that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, really cool though. Yeah, this one looks gross. I hate seeing that wing. Doesn't look as bad on the silver one because at least they made it gray. I would reckon, though, that the damaged version is the best of the bunch here. That expression is just perfect. All right. What else? Or are we done? Wow. That was nuts. Oh, the Disney Store Hot Rod the King has to make an inclusion. If you guys are into a Mr. Docket video YouTube channel lore, this is a canceled video. I had the thumbnail done for this way back in like 2016, 17, and the video just got canceled. It might have even been a little sooner, like 2015. But yeah, got canceled, and now I still have it in the package here. It's not like it's that rare, I think, but it is a very cool version of the King in there with the big tires in the back, the exhaust pipes like Snot Rod, and the blown engine. It's basically the King of Snot Rod. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And obviously the Disney Store has done other versions of the King, but they really don't like to release the King all that often. Must be like an awkward model for them, and maybe they don't want to pay the royalties to Petty Industries or whatever it is. But yeah, guys, as per usual, thank you so much for watching this video. Oh man, what the hell? I'm going to have to try and huddle up all these guys here. Hurdle. What is your favorite variation of the King? That is a question that I need an answer to. And I'm going to try and come up with an answer by the time I end this video here. By the way, here is the Piston Cup for the King. That says his name on it. Very cool. While we're on the topic of accessories, the accessory pack included the cone with the flag and a nice classic Dinoco sticker here, which we will set right there. How about you prop it up, Convention King? Don't really need to see you anymore. Sorry. All right. My favorite version is probably the gold one. I really do like the gold version of the King. It's classic. It invokes some 2016 nostalgia for me. And if I had to pick one that wasn't a custom, it would be the new damaged version of the King. I like the smile on him a lot. But yeah, guys, as per usual, again, thank you so much for the support. Leaving, comments, suggestions, all that good stuff is what makes these videos possible, especially these longer ones that take a lot of preparation. All my Kings are scattered across my collection. They're not all in one spot, as you guys probably saw in my collection video. So yeah, this video took a lot. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
But when it all burned down and you were left with nothing, did you question God or did you see it coming? Come on! Oh, come on!